Okay, here we go. What is it? September 9th. Wow. Summer's coming to the close.
Yes,
we should
it
have
is.
we should all have a party, an end of summer party blowout.
We should do it on your boat too.
Absolutely. That's what it's for. Oh, Roger, you looks like you're muted there.
Yeah, Michelle and I are up for that boat thing.
I
All
was
right.
super up for it.
Well, just let me know. It's just sitting there waiting. We're out of the shipyard. I spent 2.5 weeks in the shipyard, and boy, that was a shocker when I got that bill.
Wow, yeah. Can imagine.
Holy
Did you
mackerel.
know that was forthcoming when you got the boat?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've had boats my whole life, so not a big surprise that they need things, but the bigger they are, the bigger the bills get.
So you got the service for this month. Woo! Good.
Oh yeah. No, what I had some really cool stuff added that was not necessary. It was just like pure wants, not needs. And then just the standard basic stuff that lasts about two to 3 years. So I'm good for a while. I can get some good usage now for the next couple of years. So anyway, let's get with the program here. Looks like we got a lot of friendly faces popping in. There's Mr. Joe. I saw him yesterday. Saw Roger yesterday. Actually, several of you guys were on Larry Broughton's deal. So I was surprised that he called my name out there toward the end. I haven't really interacted with him too much, but anyway, cool guy. A lot of good stuff. A lot of good wisdom from him. All right, so what do we got? Who's got something to ask, look at, talk about? Where are you guys stuck?
Hey, John, I got something for you.
Okay, go for it, Joe.
Yeah, and Larry knows you because I talk about you all the time. I'm trying to get him to sign up for your ACT program, but
I think that would be a hard-pressed thing.
yeah, well, anything's possible. I'd like you to look at my site because you critiqued it like a month ago, and I think we made all the changes, and I think it looks pretty awesome. But
Okay, and this is Bedrock.
Bedrock Business Builders.
Okay, let me pull it up here. Okay, yeah, definitely looks different. Let me share the screen here, and we'll start picking on you.
Good. Well, different is an improvement.
Yeah, no, I like the image. It's, this is something that's really good with images when you can have a background that is non-descript. So you've got the guy here, he's obviously in pain, but a lot of people use background images that are descript, and it's very distracting. So this is good. If you guys can look for these blurred out, this is like a photography thing, which I used to do this. This used to be my specialty, was photography back, 30 years ago or something. I did a lot of advertising stuff for ad agencies and, helped create a lot of ads with photographs. But this is ideal. This nondescript, just fuzzed out background. It makes a really nice thing to lay your text on. One thing that I would do too on this white text here, see how you've got this little drop shadow behind up here?
Yeah.
I would put that on here as well.
Okay.
And I might pull it in just a little tighter so it's a little more defined, because it'll make your white text pop off that background.
Okay.
Hey, John, I don't want to derail your review, but I just got to say, Joe, compared to when we did this here, a couple of months ago, my first impression is spectacular. Wow. Clear message. Everything about it, I'm loving.
Well, it has nothing to do with me. I just told team to watch the YouTube video. It's
Yeah.
pretty easy for me.
Now, one thing
Thank you.
here, defeated. I don't know that that's the right word. Because I don't know that people are like, I don't know that that's what's going through their mind. You know, one of the most important things with copywriting and headlines, and, you know, headline is your attention grabber. So one of the most important things is that you key in on the conversation that's already going on in their head. And I don't think they're sitting there thinking that they're afraid of being defeated by the IRS. They're afraid of getting attacked. You know, I think
How about
attack.
just being attacked, or how about just being bothered?
Well, bothered that's not strong enough.
You like attacked.
You know, because what's the feeling like when you go to your mailbox and you get a notice there that they're going to audit you? Even
Yeah.
audited, don't be audited by the IRS.
So I've asked people, because it doesn't bother me when I get a letter. I laugh at them.
Well, that's you, but I'm talking, you know, this is something you got to be careful of. You have to get out of your head and you have to get
Well,
into the head of who you're talking to.
That's why I'm saying I asked everyone that I know, and they're like, it's, what do you call it? Anxiety,
Yeah.
fear. That's how
Yeah.
they feel.
Yeah. You know, if that's the case, maybe afraid. Don't be afraid of the IRS.
Okay. How about stressed?
I was going to say stressed, Joe. Don't
Yeah.
be stressed out by the IRS.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Tim's, how do you, I don't know. Did you ever get the letters, Tim, or did your wife get them?
Joe, I think you're onto something with the fear, but they're also, my impression before I actually negotiated with them was that they're super intimidating. Like you can't negotiate with the IRS, and you know, someone like you can, but intimidated might be a good word there.
Yeah, and I like that.
I like that.
Intimidated. Don't be intimidated by the IRS.
Yes.
Yeah, intimidated might be better. Yeah.
Yeah, and then this is great. Never fear an IRS tax audit again. I don't know that you need tax. I don't think you need that word in there. I think you
Never,
need to say,
just an IRS audit.
yeah. I always look at every word. If I can take a word out and it means the same thing, then it's out.
John, could he almost say never fear the IRS again?
No, that's too.
How about,
Like,
because I
I
got
wonder on that.
IRS, I have IRS right above that. Shouldn't I just take out IRS tax and never fear an audit again?
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah, you could do that.
Okay.
That's
Never,
pulling
Less-
two
less
words
is
out.
better.
never fear being audited again.
Yeah, I like that. What John just said.
Yeah, never fear being
Being
audited
audited.
again.
Okay. Yeah, that puts them in the present, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And on the line below, you could turn it into a positive, you know, be completely relaxed or sleep well at night with our bookkeeping and tax matters with Bedrock stealth tax strategies.
What do you think, John?
I think this is a perfect place to introduce your bookkeeping stuff.
Okay.
And we've already got kind of the elimination thing. And I don't think people are fearful and anxious about bookkeeping. I think that's an irritation.
Yeah, they don't say bookkeeping. They don't want to deal with the numbers
Yeah.
and the IRS.
I just wanted to insert real quick, like your top one and the bottom, the subtext, it's a good stab twist, but then like the last part's really complicated. And if I'm just looking at it
Yeah.
casually, I'll be like, what the hell is he talking about? Just to
Yeah.
say like, sleep better
Yeah.
at night, knowing we got your back. Oh, I take my money kind of thing.
Yeah, I got that. So what's a good way to introduce them, John?
That'd be like trying to think here. Because what people want to do in their business, and you're
Oh.
dealing with business owners here, right?
How about, this is what Larry Broughton told me, let us do our job and take care of this so you could do your job and make money.
Yeah, that's exactly the train of thought I was on.
Okay.
Just trying to figure out if this is more to business owners, which I think it is.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So focus on what you do best and let us handle the rest.
Yes. Okay. I like that.
And you could say, complete bookkeeping and tax services.
Okay. I like that.
And then, do you want relief now? That's kind of a odd question.
How about click here for relief, for instant relief?
Again, I don't know that relief is the right
Okay.
word. I would say you want it to come off simple, easy, quick.
That word again.
You could also throw a takeaway in here. You could say, see if you qualify now.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Because you could say, something about, you could have like a little disclaimer in there, that we're looking to take on a few new clients. You could almost use the thing like the government uses. We're looking for a few good men, right?
Yes, I like that.
We're looking for a few good clients. See if you qualify now.
Okay, great.
Because that's almost like, a classic pullout. It's a takeaway right out of the gate. And they're like, oh, wow, maybe I should check this out. Gives them a little FOMO. And I think that with all of that stuff, with the combined, everything that we just talked about here, I think you're above the fold. You'll have a pretty good makings of a big idea here.
Yeah, I think I got my $30 worth already. I'm gonna like delete the whole rest of the website and just go with this.
That's awesome. So we can go on down, or you want to just stick with the top piece?
Let's just stick with the top piece. That's,
Okay.
because we could be here all day.
All right.
That's great. Thanks, guys.
But it does look like you've got a call to action here.
Yeah, and everybody could help me if they sign up for my next workshop.
Oh, now see here, there's your unique mechanism right there.
Right.
And then the alluding to it's just, so that makes it cheap and easy. So you're definitely on the right track here for sure.
Yeah, this was something, if you remember the last time we had like 3 different boxes. So I figured, I said, let's just focus on the CFO package.
Yeah.
Instead of trying to be, starting a business, I have a business.
Here's a mistake though that I see.
Okay.
And this is a mistake made by a lot of people. You're kind of going for the kill here on the first date. What you're trying to do is you're trying to get a lead. You're trying to generate a lead. Like, this is one of the things I've learned from a lot of different salespeople. They're like, if you go to a conference or you go to a marketing event and you're networking, you don't try and make a sale while you're networking. All you're trying to do is qualify a lead and set up a follow-up. So what that means, like, that's in the real world. That's what works in the real world. If you've ever been, I know you've done this. I know you've been at a marketing event and you get people coming up and they're just all up in your grill trying to get you to buy something.
Oh, they do it online too. I hate it.
Yeah, well, it doesn't work in the real world and it doesn't work online either.
I get it. So I don't need it on the front page. If they're already interested, they're going to find it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But what you want them to do, you want them to have to opt in to get the, to get the options. You could say, hey, sign up here and find out which of our packages is right for you.
How about like a pre-qualification? Click here to apply. Is that terminology, John?
Yeah, or see if you qualify. I like
Yeah,
to see if
actually,
you qualify.
we're doing something like that because like, we get too many people that are just like, it's a waste of time to even talk to them. I hate
Yeah.
to say that.
Yeah.
But
And
but
here's
we're
the
giving them
reason.
some questions now.
Here's the reason that a good salesperson will avoid the question if you ask them how much. Like, that's usually what we all do, right? As soon as we know there's something for sale, how much, right? That's our first question. A good salesperson will not give you the answer until they've built the value. So what you're doing here is you're throwing prices out before you've built value. And that's a classic mistake. No good salesperson would ever do that in the real world. So lead generation, that was like, if we didn't have something to talk about, that was one of the things I was going to want to press on today is lead generation. It's like your marketing funnels depend on lead generation. It's like, in sales, they call it a pipeline. It's a sales pipeline. And basically what that means is there's a big pipe going down. And if you can imagine this visual, you've got stuff flowing down the pipe. And it's, the other end of the pipe is where the sale is made. It's not made on the front end. So if you stop putting people in that pipe, guess what's going to happen on the other end? They're going to stop coming out. If you have a steady stream of stuff, of leads going into your pipeline, you'll have a steady stream of sales coming out the other end. Your pipeline might be short. It might be a few hours. It might be months. Like I've got my sales pipeline is years. I have people that I have literally talked to years ago that continuously fall out the end of my pipe. I won't even recognize them. I won't even know who they are, but they'll call me or they'll email me and they'll say, yeah, we talked. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I remember. I have no freaking clue who they are, where I met them, what we talked about, but it's like years down the line. And what happens is if I stop putting people into that pipe, that means I'm going to have a dry spell at some point. And I've done this, I've hit points where it's like, oh shit, the phone's not ringing. I'm not getting any emails, what's going on? And it correlates directly to me stopping the pipeline process. I stopped putting people in the pipe up front.
But you talk about, what's his name? Oh no, Larry talks about him. He had a telemarketer, and his calendar was full, and then he fired the telemarketer, and he had no appointments.
Yeah,
Keith Baldwin.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Your pipeline depends on fresh new leads coming into it, whether you have a telemarketer. Like if you've got a telemarketer and he's keeping your schedule full, you don't fire him. If you do, you're going to notice a very quick slowdown when it gets to the end of that pipeline.
Well, I think he figured, and I'm just guessing, but this is what I would have done because I've done it. Oh, I have enough leads right now.
Yeah,
I don't need any more right now. But the truth is, yeah.
I see that with SEO all the time. This has been a thing since the very beginning. Like I'll do SEO for a company. They'll get a bunch of new sales. They'll be happy. They're fat and happy. And they're like, oh yeah, I don't need to do that SEO thing anymore. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, here's the deal. You're in at a price that's locked in. And if you come back in 6 months, that ain't going to be the same price. And I've had several clients that have experienced that. I don't do low prices twice. I'll lock it in and I'll keep it for life. I'm very good about that. But if you drop out, you come back, it's a new service. So but it, it's so true. It doesn't matter if it's SEO or telemarketing or just you talking. Like, I know a lot of you guys used to do speaking stuff. You used to go out, you used to be on stages, and you're probably seeing a very serious shutdown on the end of that pipeline because of that. The more people we meet, the more you get out there, and you don't have to do it face to face. You don't have to do this stuff in person. You don't even have to do it yourself. You can hire salespeople for this. You can do paid advertising. You can do this like a number of different ways, but you have to do it. You got to do something. Your business does not run itself. Your business doesn't generate leads out of thin air. You have to do something to do that. The ACT program is great. I mean, it is the most solid foundation you're ever going to find for how to do the communication, how to figure out who you should be selling to and why they want your stuff. It's perfect for that, but it's not going to go out and get you leads. It's not going to run your business. It's a piece of your business. You have to fuel it. That's where the traffic part comes in.
Oh, can I ask you about that a second? Sorry to
Sure.
cut you off, but I saw ACT and Be Connected. Is that like part of Be Connected now?
It's a lead generator for me.
I figured that.
Yeah, I gave them the ability to give out the shell program, but as you guys know, the shell program, nobody does it on their own. They see how cool it is, but the real benefit is right here. It's having
So
me
it does-
help
it
you
does-
through.
So it doesn't include the $30 a month,
No, they've got to come back around for that.
because I was going to ask you if it does, I want to get out of the 30 a month.
No, that's only found here. This is, I've been doing this call since somewhere around 2010. And I've got people in here that have been paying the $30 a month since 2010. They might show up on the call once or twice a year, but when they need it, it's totally worth it. It's a lot easier and better for them than, hiring me directly for private consulting at $1,000 an hour.
Yeah, John, I'm one of those 10-year people.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Gwen. I think Gwen is on here. She has been with this program, since the very beginning.
Yep.
It's like, I don't know anyone else in this industry that offers what I do at the price. I think most of them don't really care. They want to sell you their stuff. And then if they don't have anything else to sell you, you're just nothing to them. I haven't seen anybody that's willing to stand side by side with you as long as it takes. For whatever comes down the road, I'm there to fight for you, fight with you. Not fight with you, but fight for you. I don't like to fight with anybody, but I like to fight for you. So it's just like you, Joe, with the taxes. I mean, you're fighting for them. You're fighting the IRS for them. People love that. I'm fighting any number of things that come up that are unknowns to people. And
I do it for free. I
that.
do it for free sometimes, John. That's how much I like it.
Well, it seems like I do too. But it's like, and with business and marketing, it's all one big elephant, and you got to just eat it one bite at a time. But it's like anything in business can be learned. It's like, we don't just drop out of the womb with business skills and marketing skills. Some of us drop out of the womb maybe with more creative side. Maybe things come easier to us, as far as art or creation or, thought process or whatever. But everything about business and marketing can be learned. I mean, I'm proof of that. I did really well in business right from the get-go for a lot of different reasons. I think there was a lot of pressure for me to be able to be in business and not ever want to have a job. I mean, I had that was ingrained in me from the time I could remember back to. So for me, it's like, there isn't an option. If this doesn't work, I have nowhere to go. I have no fallback, because me going and getting a job ain't going to happen. It's, so I've got nowhere to go. It's got to work. So I've got to be creative and do whatever it takes. But what I learned along the way is I learned a lot of things from a lot of people, and it was all skills. Like sales, I didn't know how to do sales, and I hated it. It was like when I was younger, my brother was the sales guy, and he could sell anything. And I had a relationship with him with I didn't want to deal with the people. He was great with the people and he loved it. He didn't want to work. He was lazier than I am. And so I had to deal with him. If I don't have to deal with anybody, I'll do anything you can sell. If you can sell it, I'll provide it. I'll make it. I will make it happen. And, I never had to deal with sales. And then, when he was out of the picture, he passed away some time ago. And I'm like, shit, now I'm going to have to do something I really don't like. And I didn't know how to do it. So I looked around and I actually found Eric Laughlin, and I went through his sales training. And I'm like, wow, this guy's got a system. It makes a lot of sense. It was very logical and it worked. And, a lot of what I know about sales, a lot of what I, transfer on to you guys about sales, I learned from him. And it was a learned skill. I didn't have it. I learned it from somebody. And, the marketing, the ACT program, it's the same thing. You're not good at it the first time you do it. You have to build that skill set. So it's definitely worthwhile though. What I can tell you about marketing and sales is it's imperative to your business. If you don't want to go to work, if you don't want to go have a day job, you either need to find somebody like I had my brother that can do it, likes it, wants to do it, or you better learn it yourself, or you better learn it at least enough to know if it's being done right. Because, you got to have it. That pipeline, what I was talking about earlier, you've got to fill that pipeline. You've got to figure out, how do you attract people in there? That goes to the big idea. That's figuring out what they want. Like for lead magnets, lead magnets are the things that you give away to get somebody to opt in. In the electronic world, that's the beginning of your pipeline. That's your funnel. People call it a funnel. In the real world, I was talking about this in networking events. Your job is not to make a sale when you meet somebody. Your job is to throw bombs. I call it throwing bombs out. Like I'll say something and it's bait. I'm throwing out bait and I'm not chasing the fish. I'm just throwing out the bait and walking away and see who follows. Like when you throw a lure out in the water and you drag it back, you'll see if there's not fish following it, you did something wrong. Throw a different color, throw a different bait. When the fish start following it back, you go, oh, I just got some interest. Now I just have to hook them. It's the same thing. If you say something over and over and over and nobody has interest in it, change your bait. It's not working. You're not going to hook a fish with a bait that they're not interested in. That's your lead magnet. I can tell you this, what I've learned this from a lot of the marketers, the like Frank Kern for a big example. Ryan Dice, another big example of these guys are really good at the lead magnets. And the best lead magnet that you can create is something to give away to allow somebody to take the first step toward getting something that they want. A lead magnet is a small thing that is bite-sized. It's easily and quickly consumed, and it leaves them wanting more. So that does not include a book. I see people doing this all the time. They try and use a book for a lead magnet. If somebody has to read your book to take the next step, guess what? That next step's never going to get taken. They'll all raise their hand. They'll all take the book, right? But if you're depending on them to consume that book to be able to take the next step, you're dead in the water. You know, I would never give away a book as far as a lead magnet. I like to give away stuff that is quickly and easily consumed. They can go through it in a very short time frame, effortlessly, and know what to do next. Those are your best lead magnets. You know, like if you look at the timeline, the person is in one state and their desired outcome is a different state, right? They want to be somewhere else. They want something different. They want, you know, whatever it is, they want it. That's their desired outcome, is the fulfillment of that desire. So you need to look at, how do I get them there? What do I have that's going to fulfill that for them? What's going to deliver on the promise? That's your unique mechanism. Now you have to build confidence. No one's going to buy anything from you if they're not confident that they can get the result and that you are the one that can deliver it. That's how you create that demand and desire. There's no better way, and I learned this from Frank Kern, there's no better way that you can build that demand and desire than giving them something that will allow them on their own to take the first step and get a small win, a small result, so they're closer to getting what they want. Every time they take a step forward to get closer to what they want, their desire goes through the roof. Their demand to have it goes through the roof, and their willingness to pay more for it also goes through the roof. The closer you can get them, the more they're willing to pay, the easier they're willing to pay. They will give up their money much easier the closer you get them. If you don't do that, they don't have confidence. Nobody buys something without confidence. They have to at least have the confidence that they think it will work for them. And if you haven't delivered anything to build that confidence, you're on a pretty steep hill trying to get them to buy it, right? It doesn't work. It's not easy. If one of the things, if you're doing something in your business and it's not easy, you're probably doing something wrong. You know, that was one of the things. My dad was an engineer. He was a rocket scientist. And he always told me that. He said, if you're trying to accomplish something, or you're trying to do something, you're trying to build something, trying to design something, anything, he didn't care what it was. He said, if it was difficult, you were probably doing something wrong. And he gave me the shortcut to it. He said, somebody's done it before you, and either they can tell you how to do it, or you can look and you can see how they did it. And you can just eliminate all that frustration. So I think, you know, that lesson given to me very early on in my development, I believe has helped me tremendously. If something's hard, I just stop it. It's not right. Something's not working. And I either need to, you know, figure out who knows how to do it so they can tell me, or I need to find them, look at them, analyze them. That's how the whole ACT program came together. And that was me analyzing, how do ad agencies do this so flawlessly, so effortlessly, over and over and over? And I just looked at how they did it and just backward engineered it. And now it seems easy. So that's, that's the whole thing. So Josh, you got your hand up there. Did you have a question?
Yes, I was wondering if you could review my site.
Yeah, absolutely. What's the address?
joshboltonshow.com.
All right. This it?
That's it.
Wow, you got some issues going on here. Remember what I told Joe about the non-discriminant background?
Yeah.
This has a lot going on. Up here, it's chopped, so I can't really even see what it is.
Right.
Um,
It's a relatively experimental site I'm working with. So
okay.
I'm
You
still working
want-
out some of the bugs.
So just from a initial look, it really needs some design help.
Yes.
So you need to focus on your messaging. Here again, round 2 with the Naked Warrior. Nobody's going to know what that is unless they know. If you're sending them here and they already know, then they'll want to play the episode.
Right.
But if they don't, they're probably not going to do that. And with playing the episode, you probably, if the episode's good, here's another classic thing I learned from Frank. It's a 3-step process, and it's not even his. He took it from, I think, John Carlton, who's a really good copywriter. And the deal is they say 3 things. Here's what I've got. Here's what it's going to do for you. Here's what I want you to do next. And here's what I want you to do next. That's obviously the call to action. You've got the call to action here, the play the episode, but you don't have the what it's going to do for you. You've got the here's what it is, but I don't really even know what it is. So
Right.
you've got to be real clear on what it is as something that they want. The here's what it's going to do for you. This is why they want it. And then here's how to get it.
Okay.
So if you can focus on those, and this is for anybody, like you're above the fold should focus on those 3 things. Here's what I've got. Here's what it's going to do for you. Here's what I want you to do next. You need a call to action. I wouldn't let them just play the episode. I would get them to opt in for it. It's a lot easier to get them to opt in for it if they want it. If
Okay.
you do those 3 steps, way easier to get them to opt in for it. The other thing, when you do opt-ins, I see this mistake all the time, is you've got the thing up on the left and then you've got the opt-in box on the right. And it's got the thing where it shows you can put your name and email address in there. You don't want to do that. Just have the button. And then when they click the button, then it pops up the box that they can enter their name and email address. What that is it's micro commitments. It's like all they have to decide is they just have to decide, oh yeah, I want that, click. If they see the other thing, I have to decide now, do I want to put my name and email address in here? Do I want to give up my information? Do I want to get email from this guy? They got all these decisions, and it's like it throws a wrench in the machine.
Right.
You just want that one thing. Yeah, I want it. Boom. And then, oh, where do I send it? Oh, okay. They've already committed to they want it now. So now it's just a matter of it's robotics. It's not decisions, it's robotics. They already made the decision.
Okay.
So that will increase your conversion radically. That is one of the biggest conversion maximizers that there is as far as getting people to opt in.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the biggest one I noticed. I had a Wix site and the thing was clunky, and I just tossed in this. It just so happened this guy is doing, it's like I said, relatively experimental. He's starting his website service for like $10 a month, and he built me this, and I was like, okay, but I'm like, I even told him the same thing. The top it's visually unappealing. I'd even click off my own site.
Yeah. WordPress is really good. WordPress templates. I use the Beaver Builder template. I know a lot of people like Divi. They're almost the same thing, really, but they're really good. They're mobile optimized. They're easy to work with, especially with Beaver Builder or Divi. where they're drag and drop. And these other programs like Wix and these things where it's a builder and you're using some third-party builder, they're not very easy to manipulate.
Right.
Like if you want to change things, and it's just you have to, you're confined to their boxes that they put you in.
Correct.
Yeah, I like having access to everything. I like to make changes on, anything I want. So the other thing here too is there isn't really anything about what you do here. And that's really important. Like the only thing I get that it's some kind of show. There's no graphics, there's no visuals.
These are all the episodes I've done. That's the part I liked about what he presented. It's segmented different shows. So if people wanted to check that out specifically, they could do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I like. But I'm like, the rest, I'm like, this is so clunky. I hope he can fix it soon, kind of thing.
Yeah. But there's no, even all these, there's no real, like I would have to work really hard to figure out what you're doing here.
Right.
You need, like up here, you need that messaging of, almost like the eyebrow thing where it's like, this is for you if, like, who is this for?
Okay.
And then why do they want it? If you can work on your messaging should be that above the fold. Up here, I wouldn't, like, whenever I do layouts and I do the navigation bars at the top, I try and make those as easy to look at as possible. So don't put any backgrounds behind them. If you do, just like a fade or a gradation, something like that. Like, let's see. I'll just show you mine here. So it's just a solid color. There's the logo, and then there's the rollouts of what you do. Here's an example. Get yours today, and then it pops up name and email. They've already decided they want it. Now it's just a matter of moving to the next step.
Okay. Thank you, John.
Yeah, absolutely. Gwen, you got your hand up there.
Yes. I got a quick question on sharing Kartra pages. I thought I could just share the page, but do I have to make it like a product to actually share it?
No, you can go to any page that you've got. You got to log in first.
Oh yeah, I was logged in and I did that, and then I'm like, I can share the link, but then they can't tweak it or anything.
Oh, you want them to edit it?
If they want to.
No, editing, you have to be logged into your Kartra account to edit the page.
Okay, I can't just share the whole page like to work on or anything.
No.
Okay.
What you can do, you can create users.
Uh-huh.
I think, let's see, team members.
Okay.
So right here, you can create a team member and then you can give them access to just edit pages.
Uh-huh.
And then they have a login to go in and be able to do that.
Okay.
But they have to be logged into your Kartra account as a member to be able to do edits to your pages.
Okay, so I can just share it by sharing the link.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And then in here, like to edit, you just go into edit. If you want to get the code to give them, like if you just want the URL,
Right.
that's the page link. And then you can just give them that. They can pop it into a browser.
Right. Yeah, I've done that.
And away they go. But they
Okay.
cannot edit that just from looking at it here. Like this is a page I got to find out who wants to go fishing. That's a picture of my boat. So I'm getting people to opt in, and I'm finding out, like, when they're available, how long they need notice, what their experience level is. Because there's
Uh-huh.
going to be certain times like, when I want to go out and I want to fish for white sea bass. So I want to know who's got that experience.
Oh, cool.
And again, I am basically using this to find out who's my ideal customer to go fish with.
Right.
I use this process in everything in life, whether it's business or just I want to find the right people to go fishing with. I know if I put the wrong people on the boat, nobody's going to have fun and it's going to be a disaster.
Right. Right.
And I can do without that.
Right. So
So
if we want to go fishing with you, do we have to fill out that form?
yeah, fill it out. We'll get you on there.
That'd be funny.
I'm actually going to do, I haven't set the schedule up yet, but I'm going to set up like little private mastermind groups where we'll do like probably 4 to 6 people.
Mhm.
And we'll do a little mastermind on the boat. We'll go out, look at the dolphins, hang out and just have fun.
That would be a blast.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get a lot of those on the schedule now that the boat's all back together and ready to roll. And it's a pretty comfortable boat to go out and spend the day on.
Cool. Okay, well, thank you. I will share them with just the link, and then if they want to edit them, I'll move forward with that other way.
Okay.
Thank you much.
Sure. Roger, you got your hand up?
I do, John. I just wanted to mention that looking through that form, everything is about fishing. But for me, going out on a boat might be conversational, sunshine, dolphins, ocean, enjoying everything. It's those darn fish we don't like. So there's no other option, right?
Well,
in your sign up. So no signing up.
Actually, there are. I just want to go along for the ride.
Got it.
So there is that. There's somebody that doesn't really know how to fish, but hey, they want to try, they want to learn, or they just hey, I'm just a spectator. I just want to go along for the ride, hang out in the sun, have a good time.
Perfect. Got it.
And then there's other guys that, hey, they want to help. They have experience. They don't mind helping other people, and they want to be a deckhand.
Yeah.
So I did take that into consideration.
Yeah, but scroll down. I guess comments, because you have a mandatory on that one there. So, it's.
Oh, I've got that set to mandatory. That's probably just by default. I didn't mean to make that one mandatory. I can go back and fix that.
Oh, I love it. That way I can come in and make a
change it
comment.
to,
Like,
I
what the
just
hell
wanna
you making
pet
me
'em.
make a comment for?
But yeah, you might have actually I changed this before I introduced this form to the marketing community. Because when I first did this, I was actually fishing in the right places. I was going on to sport fishing forums and groups and Facebook where, they were hardcore fishermen. And I put a post in there and I said, the type of boat I have, the Hatteras boat, it's like the ultimate sport fisher. And not very many people have them. Most of them have little boats and they would love to go on a Hatteras. So I put on there, I put some kind of a post on there and I said, who's up for going and fishing, sharing expenses and spend the day on a Hatteras. And it was like, I got a whole bunch of comments on that. So then I thought, oh, well, cool. Maybe I need to sift these out. So I put this form together. And that was what I created the form originally for. And then when I put it out to other people, I came back and I added these other fields in there. So these weren't in there originally. Because originally I was fishing in a pot where I already knew these are all hardcore fishermen. They're not going to want to just go for the ride. So again, you adapt. Kartra is so easy to adapt. Like for the forms, all I had to do is I just had to go in here. I made this fishing team opt-in. So for me to edit this, I just go into edit. I'll actually fix that, and you can see how I fixed it. Okay, so form fields. So see how you can add these form fields in here. And this one, it's not mandatory.
It's the one above it, the check boxes,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
where you pick your fish. I'm happy to pick which kind I want to eat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that one actually should be mandatory, because I want to know what they're interested in. Even if it's just eating it. If you want to eat it, we want to catch it, right? So yeah, that one was supposed to be mandatory. But anyway, it's super easy to come in here. If you want to add, you can, you go back in here, and it's just as simple as add another field. Just type in what you want, hit add. So yeah, and this is another point. You don't have to get it right the first time. And if you get in and you find that hey, the market isn't quite what you thought, go back and just change your form, change your message, change anything you need to change to make it right, make it work, make it convert better. So don't get hung up on everything has to be perfect. Like, so many people will get paralyzed by they got to have everything perfect before they do anything. And that's just not true. The biggest thing is getting leads, getting that pipeline, get it filled. Start filling the pipeline. Even if you're not ready to deal with what comes out the other end. As long as the pipeline's full, it's going to start having opportunity. If you don't have anything in the pipeline, you've got zero opportunity. You have to go and create your own opportunity, and that's very difficult. That's probably one of the hardest things in business is, that comes down to cold calling. Nobody wants to cold call. If you're in that position where you got to have opportunity and you just don't have any, the only option you've got is pick up the phone. Nobody likes that. I would much rather have the phone ringing.
Hey, John, just before you clicked off of that form, I saw it said double opt-in as an option. What is a double opt-in?
Double opt-in, what that means is when they opt in, it sends them an email and they have to click it again to confirm their opt-in.
Got it.
I never do that. I don't make people jump through that kind of hoops. I never have. It's not that it's a bad practice. It's, what it'll do is, if you've got your own lists and you're managing it, it'll make sure that people aren't putting bogus email addresses in. That's what it'll do. With Kartra, I'm not worried about that, because with Kartra, it'll blacklist them if it's a hard bounce. So if they put a bad email address in, I'm not going to continuously be sending to them, destroying my email reputation. So if you're managing your own list, it's a really good practice to do, just to keep your list clean. Now, for me, I don't like to miss any opportunities. I like to get the maximum effort out of the least amount of work. So I make it to where somebody can put a bogus email address in. And I don't make the email going out deliver the goods. I put up the thank you page and I give it to them anyway. Because again, I'm creating an opportunity. Maybe I just started somebody into my pipeline. I gave them something without them having to do something. I didn't pigeonhole them into, they couldn't get what they wanted because they weren't willing to put their email address in. I gave the sharp ones a loophole. And this is something, if you allow people to feel like they've taken advantage of you, they like that. That creates some kind of a weird bond with them. It's like they don't like confrontation for the most part. They don't like negotiation for the most part. So if they can get something like and think they got away with something, they have a good feeling. And you want people to have a good feeling every time they come in contact with you. Now, obviously you don't want people taking advantage of you. So like with me, I engineer it. I engineer that. I don't feel at all like I got taken advantage of. Go ahead, Roger.
So John, could I follow up on that line? Even with coaches that are part of your group or Craig's group, when I initially sign up for whatever their lead magnet is or something, I use a secondary email that's just, it gets full of spam, not terrible spam, but just newsletter email send out.
Sure.
It's not one I check in real time. It's not one I really care about. That's what I use. And then later I find, wow, okay, I'm getting impressed with this person. I now want to really be receiving their emails, and I have to enter a new email. Do you have a system built into this whole, you allow them to use a bogus email or something where there's a natural way for them to enter, okay, I like you enough now that I'm going to give you my real email option?
Well, yeah, I mean, every time I put something out that requires an opt-in, you can put any email address you want into it. I also, this is something that a lot of people don't do, is they'll only allow you to be on the list one time. So like, let's say somebody downloaded something from you and they really liked it, and then they lost it, and then they want to get it again and they can't. Now you've either created a customer service support ticket where they're calling you, asking you for the thing, which is a pain in the ass, because that's why you automate it. That's why you put it up anyway. So Kartra allows that very easily, that somebody could opt in for the same thing over and over and over. It doesn't keep adding them to your list. It already recognizes them as being on the list. So it just doesn't add them again. Just gives them what they want. So that's a really cool thing about Kartra. A lot of the other autoresponders won't do that. So it's, you know, it's simple database programming, but most of them don't have it.
Hey, John.
Yeah, go ahead, Randy.
I'd like to ask or either ask questions, 3 questions, or make 2 questions and a statement, however it comes out.
Sure.
But because I got to go to another meeting, but awesome information again. Thank you, everybody. But I want to get back to the Hatteras. That's the style of the boat. Can you give me the dimensions or the beer capacity of the facility?
Well, it's a 55-foot boat. It's got an 18-foot beam, so it's 55 by 18. As far as capacity
for beer, I'm only concerned about the beer.
Yeah, we did a birthday party and we had 29 people on it for the birthday party. And to give you an idea, we put them all up on the front, up on the bow to take a group photo. And 29 people only took up about the first 4 feet of the bow.
Okay, and it didn't tip over. Cool.
And it didn't even go down at all.
So here's my second question. Someone was talking about, I think it might have been Gwen, I'm not sure, but talking about sharing on Kartra, your page or whatever. And my question with that whole sharing thing, isn't there a certain amount of trust that, because if you share, can you limit it to exactly what one page or one ad or whatever? Because now they can actually get inside your confidential site, right?
Yes, correct. Like you set them up as a team member. Like if you have an outsourcer, let's say, and you want that outsourcer to be able to do certain things inside your Kartra account, you set them up with only those permissions. Like you wouldn't want somebody to go in and be able to change your Kartra settings.
Or see anything in there that they shouldn't see, et cetera, et cetera.
Correct.
And then the final question, I'm guessing that because you look at our websites, you'll also look at upcoming webinar ads that we might develop in Kartra and give us some critique and help on those, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, big idea. I have Kartra page after Kartra page of big ideas.
Especially the upcoming webinar in October that you're actually a special guest on.
Yeah. You just,
Hosted by Randy Powell.
those are just landing pages. Every time you have a big idea, you should fire up a Kartra landing page for it. And, with an opt-in, a thank you page to deliver it, it's super simple to create, on the fly opt-ins,
Cool. Awesome.
super simple. So was that it, Randy? Okay, cool. Roger, back to you.
Okay, I don't want to use up anybody else's time that has a legitimate thing, but I want to put you on the spot and see if you could do this, John.
Okay.
I'm hoping. And it's not any kind of a measure. It's just, I really would value this. Take an ordinary service that you can think of and convert it into what you might perceive as a big idea, like 1 or 2 examples of how the rest of the people see it just as a service, but you see how it can be framed as a big idea.
Okay, well, throw one out. Give me an example of what you want me to come up with.
Sleep.
Okay. So with any of these, with any big idea, you're trying to figure out what they want, why they want it, what the problem is, all of that. So you've also got to come up with the unique mechanism. Like for this instance, we'll just call it a sleep system. So that'll be our unique mechanism. That's what's going to deliver the result. The first piece is a promise. The promise is based on what they want, why they want it, all of that. So, I mean, in simplicity form, we could say, get the best night's sleep you've had, in years. Let's roll back the clock. That's the curiosity factor. Let's use roll back the clock as the curiosity factor. And we'll call this the fountain of youth of sleep. So that's connecting the curiosity factor to the promise. The fountain of youth of sleep is going to it's going to deliver you the best night's sleep you've ever had using our sleep system method. So that's just, out of thin air, using the pieces.
And so the piece that in going through the ACT program with that would be what it makes you unique from anyone else.
Yeah.
Always.
It's that, and the curiosity factor is saying something that they know and they've heard, but they haven't heard it said in that way. That's where I connected it to the fountain of youth. It's
Right.
like, how does the fountain of youth tie to sleep? That curiosity factor is going to pull you in. It's going to get them leaning forward to go, what? Curiosity, or fountain of youth, sleep, what? It's on their mind. Again, you're entering a conversation in their mind of like, man, my sleep sucks. I wish I could sleep better. And you're going to enter that conversation with something that they desire, said in a way they've never heard it, with something that is the deliverable. It's actually going to deliver the result. That's
so John, I'm nuancing something that you've said here. You talked about having a unique mechanism, and you've also talked about saying things in a new way. Those are 2 different things. The unique
Correct.
mechanism plus the unique way of framing.
Correct. The unique mechanism is actually the thing that does the work. So that's your product name. That's the name of the thing that they're going to buy from you that's going to do the work for them. And then the curiosity factor, that's how you're going to say it. You're going to connect it to something that is not what they thought. Like I created a big idea for the ACT program called the Elvis shift. It's basically how you can use the same thing that a struggling musician used to turn him into the king of rock and roll. And you can do the same thing in your business using the Elvis shift. The promise is
swivel to it and all.
yeah, hip swivel, the whole enchilada. And I did a webinar on it, and I basically showed them that Elvis was having the same problem that you're probably having in your business.
Oh, I'm glad you clarified that because I was there for a minute. John, you're showing us the hip swivel on your. Oh my gosh. Word picture I didn't want to go into.
No, I'm not real good at the hip swivel. Nor would anyone probably want to see that. I'm trying to attract leads, not drive them away. But then, I've got their attention now, and they're curious as to, how could I use what did Elvis do that I could use in my business to turn my business or turn me into the king of my industry? I mean, everybody knows that he was the king of rock and roll, right? Nobody denies that. Most people don't know that he struggled. And how did he get from a struggling musician to the king of rock and roll? And it's a fascinating story. It really is. I learned all of that from a documentary. I actually formulated this big idea as I was watching this documentary. We just saw it on Netflix. I'm like, oh, Elvis, that's cool. Let's watch this. Didn't have anything better to do. And as I'm watching it, I'm like, holy shit, I could turn this into a big idea for the ACT program. So I replayed it and I actually watched it again, looking for the pieces, and I found everything I needed. And it's a good big idea for the ACT. And it also gave me a whole presentation. It didn't just give me the big idea. It gave me all the building blocks to create a webinar on how Elvis did that and how the ACT program is actually what he did. He used it. He used the ACT program before it even existed. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, what changed him was the fact that he was doing something that his audience didn't want. He was singing gospel music and trying to sell that to girls, young girls. They didn't want it. They were not looking for gospel music. They wanted to shake their hips. They wanted to get a little wild and crazy, and that was not being catered to. And, he kept going to record company after record company, and nobody wanted his stuff because it was the same old rehashed stuff. So he just about threw in the towel. And then he was doing something, and he made this new sound with some band member, and somebody heard it. And they said, that's new, that's different. We're interested in that. And then they put him, I believe it was the Ed Sullivan show. He was on there, and he was very introverted. So he was not comfortable being in front of people. And when he walked out on stage, he actually had a nervous twitch in his knee. And that's where the whole knee shake thing started from. And what he did, he recognized that the girls liked it. Every time his knees shook, they cheered, they went nuts. And all he did was he gave them what they wanted. He changed his message. He changed his message from rock and roll, stick figure to, or from gospel music, stick figure, to a little bit wild, and started shaking his hips because that's what they wanted. And the world went wild for it. So all he did was he observed the outcome. He changed. He just gave them what they wanted. He shifted. That's the Elvis shift. And if your business is struggling, I can guarantee you're trying to feed the wrong thing out to your audience, just like he was. If you just pay attention, you figure out what they want, why they want it, and give it to them, things will go a lot smoother in your business. That's the ACT program in a nutshell. So again, just from watching a Netflix documentary, I came up with all of that.
That's awesome.
And I even recorded a little piece of it. There was a part where Elvis actually went into the service. He went out and he was gone. He was off the scene for a couple of years. When he came back, they interviewed him, and the interviewer asked him specifically, said, Elvis, since you've been gone, do you think your market has changed? And, do you think they're still going to like the the same thing. And what he said, it was almost word for word. He said, well, I don't believe they've changed, but if they did, I'd be crazy not to change with them. He said that, and I recorded it. And I actually used that in the presentation to back up. It's claim proof benefit. I can make claims all day long, but I have to prove it. This is the king of rock and roll. That's pretty good proof, third-party verification, right? So it's just, and again, back to the whole skill set thing. When you start learning this stuff, you start coming in tune with it. You'll start seeing it everywhere. And because you see it, you'll learn from it every time you see it, and you'll get good at it. It will bring like ideas to you, like, oh God, I could use that in my business. That was great. Big ideas are everywhere. Other people, don't be afraid to steal a big idea. If someone else has used it and it will work for you, why not? Just change it. You're obviously going to have a different, unique mechanism to it, but you can use the same angles. Just make sure that that you're matching the same audience, or change it to make sure it caters to your audience. But you don't have to do all the heavy lifting. You don't have to, start from a blank page every time. Use what's available to you. Learn that from somebody that's very lazy. I rarely start with a blank page. I'll look for something that's got some traction, and I'll just, push it to the wall. So that kind of that.
Yeah, I loved it, John. Thank you. That was awesome.
I mean, a lot of people are intimidated by the whole big idea thing, and they're all around you. I mean, everywhere you look, you'll start seeing them once you know what to look for.
So would an example be, this is so brilliant. So an example might be, for example, I could look up insomniacs, famous insomniacs.
Yeah.
And Lincoln was one. And actually looking at that and seeing is like, well, how did this affect his life? And I mean, that's the tweak, is just making that correlating to what I
Exactly.
like. But that would be kind of like a proof point. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, curiosity factors, anybody that is a well-known figure, if you can connect them to whatever you're doing, that's a curiosity factor.
Mm-hmm.
Like
you
TomPetty.com worked for me.
Yeah. Yeah. If it's like there's something with the human mind, when it connects to something familiar, it just feels at home.
Yeah.
And when you can connect yourself to that feeling, then you're building trust and rapport with yourself. So when it comes time and the time is right for you to make an offer, they're not going to have that hesitation. They're not going to like, oh, I don't trust this person, or I don't believe that they could do this for me, or, whatever. It's like building trust and rapport as a part of the sales process, getting people to like you. No one is going to buy anything from you unless they know you, like you, trust you. I think Larry Broughton said that, and it's so true. So there's no better way to get them to know you, like you, and trust you than a good sales funnel and helping them.
But the sales funnel isn't really enough, you think? I mean, it seems like it's something that has to be built a little bit over time, like through social media or whatever the platform people use. Is that correct?
No, I see it all the time. You can build all of this in 45 minutes on a webinar.
Wow.
I do it all the time. I mean, I do webinars all the time, and I sell right off the webinar to people that have never met me before.
That's because you're so lovable.
I mean, I do have an advantage though going into that, because I've got somebody that it's their audience and they're introducing me and they're endorsing me and all that. That's another trust factor. But I just, I deliver the goods. I give them the real stuff. I don't give them just, watered down junk. Like if somebody asks me, I'll throw out, whatever I've got. Like when Roger asked, hey, can you come up with a big idea off the top of your head? Sure. Just what do you want it on?
Yeah. And I'm going to say, actually, that bounced over to, and let me make sure I don't screw this up. It's Kia
Kaya.
Kaya.
Like
Kaya.
Kaya.
Hiya, Kaya. I love that. Oh, what a great mnemonic. Okay, so you just talked about Lincoln being a famous insomniac, and my thought is, oh my gosh, he had such major decisions to make. If he weren't on his game, the country may have gone completely off the rails. So to me, the story of Lincoln curing or sleeping, figuring out how to cure his insomnia would be fascinating.
Yeah. Oh, how
So
fun. You know, it would be so cool. I mean, it would actually be fun off of the call. We could do big ideas with each one of us and just brainstorm, because that's brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, you could do the Lincoln sleep method, and tie it to, hey, here's how he did it. Just like I did with Elvis.
Yeah.
Here's how Elvis made that shift. And it took him from struggling to the king of rock and roll. You could take, Lincoln, you could say, Lincoln, before he figured this out, he was worthless. The country would have been in a shambles and if he didn't figure this secret out.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the Lincoln sleep secret method, whatever. And that's your unique mechanism.
Yeah. It's brilliant.
So, and it's that thing of that familiarity. Everyone knows who Lincoln is, right? So when you connect that and you just become part of the fabric of that connection, then they trust you.
Mm.
They like that. Like I use the Benjamin Franklin thing too. I use the Franklin belief builder. That's a unique mechanism for how I eliminate any objection. That's a big thing. People want to know how to eliminate objections. That's a desired outcome because I make it that. I say, if you have a sales presentation and you've got your prospect and you've got everything and you've got a great presentation, the only thing that stands between you and a sale is an objection. So I just put a spotlight on the big ass problem is they're not going to make sales because of these objections. And I have attached that every objection, and again, this is claim proof benefit at work, I'm making the statement of every objection is based on a belief. And then I show them how that's true. It's a belief in them. They believe it. It's true. It's real. It's inside their head. There's nothing you can do to stop it. And they know that because it's personal experiential that I'm tapping into. That if you don't believe you can do it, you're not going to buy it, right? I just made that true. And I didn't even, and I focused on you to do it. You were my third party verification with that. And then I come back and I tie it to the thing that's going to deliver the result is you want these objections eliminated. You want them out of your way. You want the sale, right? It's the only thing standing between you and a sale. That now is becoming very powerful, that I have this Franklin belief builder that will change their fundamental thinking, change their beliefs, and eliminate the objections at the same time. It sounds like freaking magic. So that's a high-end curiosity factor.
So John, I'm just going to drill on that. If you're okay with it, I'm just going to drill right on what you said. I recall you were saying that what you do is you think of the objection that they would have, that your client will probably have. You say the opposite statement, and then you do 2 proof points, especially if it's other people proving it for you.
Correct.
Now, my question is, let's say you have a product and you can think of 5 common objections and 10 every once in a while somebody will have these kind of objections, but you're trying to do some sales online. So do you put each of these objections on your landing page, because those long scroll landing pages will have them, put it on the web somewhere, or do you try to initiate an individual sell where you then converse with them and give them?
No, see let's say I've identified 10 objections. There's 10 potential objections that could come in front of me in a sale. So what I'll do is I will backwards engineer my sales presentation to eliminate those objections along the way. I'll just address them, because when you get a no, like this is something Eric Laughlin taught me. He said, if somebody gives you a no when you ask for the order, it's probably because they didn't understand something. If you know it's going to work, they know it's going to help them, they should want it. It's something they just didn't understand. So in that case, you get to ask them. You're face to face. All you have to do is say, really? What's holding you back? And then they're going to tell you. And usually they'll tell you a superficial answer. They won't tell you the real thing up front. And this is something you just have to know. And what you do, as soon as they say it, you acknowledge it as though you accept it. It's real, because it is real to them. So you accept it, you acknowledge it, and go, yeah, I understand that. Let's talk about that. But first, other than that, is there any other objection? Is there anything else holding you back? And usually on the second one, you'll get the real thing. Second one will be more close to the truth of what's really holding them back. And you just do the same process. You acknowledge it, accept it, and then say, other than that, is there anything else? And as soon as there's nothing else, now you can step back into your presentation. You can address it. You can do the claim, proof, benefit, reverse the objections, and then move on to, would you like to move forward with that?
So John, you're saying then, so I understand this, handle the objection straight on. So if somebody was saying, well, I don't believe that's going to work, right? So you would tell me how you would handle it again. You may think this is not going to work. So you would handle it as an affirmative?
Yeah, I would just bring it up in the conversation, go, you might be thinking this isn't going to work, and you're not alone. A lot of people thought this wasn't going to work, but it does. Now you're making a claim contrary to the belief, and then you're showing them the proof points, and then you reattach it to the benefit, which is what they want. So whatever those objections are, I'm going to look for places in my presentation where I can just stamp them out along the way. So when I get to the end, I'm not dealing with objections because they're all gone.
I love the way that you've included their objection with the common man. You're not alone. Mm-hmm. Many people thought this.
Yeah. That's social proof.
Because it becomes inclusive then.
That's another part of proof, is you can rely on social proof of the masses. Like, just by the nature of me saying it that way, like, you're not alone. A lot of people thought this and they found out they were wrong. So I'm using numbers, volume of social proof to prove my point. It's not just me saying it. It's all these people found out that they were wrong too. So proof can be in a lot of different forms. It doesn't have to be like a written document somewhere. It doesn't have to be somebody saying it. You can rely on someone's experience as a proof point. So there's lots of different forms of proof that you can use, and I usually try and get at least 2.
And is the proof outside of you? Because if we're making the claim, so it's
Correct.
Somebody else has got social proof for it.
Correct. It can't be just you saying it. You saying it is the first piece. That's the claim. And then you got to tie it to 2 proof points, or at least one really good one. Something that can't be deniable. They can't deny it. And that turns it basically into a fact. So once you've changed it into a fact, now they can't argue it. So it's absolutely changed the belief. That's the key, is changing the belief. It's the belief that was your enemy is now your ally. Now it's working for you instead of against you. So, and the difference in face-to-face versus online is face-to-face, we get the luxury of being able to talk to them and ask them, what's holding you back? So we can do a shorter presentation, address the issues as they come up, and maybe they don't have them, so you can save your breath, right? But online, we don't have that luxury. You have somebody going through your marketing system, going through your funnel, consuming your content, watching your webinar. If you get to the end and they have an objection and you didn't address it, it's just a non-sale. It's a non-conversion. We lose. So if I'm going to go onto the battlefield, I really don't like to lose. So I'll use everything at my disposal to make sure that I can win. And it's all about the conversion. No matter where you are in the funnel, there's a lot of conversion points and you have to hit them all. As soon as you miss one, it's game over. Like your opt-in, you have to convert. That's a conversion point. Your webinar or your marketing materials, they have to consume it. If you miss, that's a failure on conversion. If they don't watch your video to the point of where your offer is, that's a failure on conversion. As soon as you fail, it's game over. With Kartra, you got a lot of cool things that will tell you, and it will automate the process of making sure that you can keep them in the process to get those conversions up. So cool stuff. So lead magnets are that, you've got to start filling your pipeline. Even if you're not ready to sell your stuff, you've got to start filling your pipeline. And like, think about curiosity things of something that you could throw out. Don't try and force your stuff on people. Even if they need it or they want it, don't force it on them. Throw stuff out, like throw bombs and walk away. Like, for instance, you could say, like for Ron's case, he's got the scar removal cream. He could just be in, like a party or something and he could just throw out a statement of, yeah, I tried this scar removal cream in 3 weeks, it was gone. And then he just walks away. And anybody that's interested in that, so they're going to chase him. They're going, hey, Ron, what was that cream? Tell me about that. Where'd you get it? They're coming his way instead of him going into the crowd being a salesperson. You figure out what are those things that you throw out. And if you throw it out and nobody chases you, then you pitch the wrong bait. You didn't say it right. You didn't engineer it right. So just don't do it again, or do it to a different crowd. Maybe you just threw the right thing out to the wrong fish. That's all part of that analysis, is figuring out who you're talking to, what the message should be. And if you think you've got it right and it doesn't work, you didn't get it right. So don't be afraid to change it. Don't keep doing the same thing, failing over and over. That's not going to change. If you want a different outcome, you have to do a different thing to get it. But when you find it, when you find the right phrase and you throw it out to the right people and they chase you, then you're filling your pipeline. And what you want to do, again, you don't try and make the sale right there. Say, hey, I got this, I need to talk to this guy. I would love to get together with you. Let's set a time. And that way you're taking him out of that party environment. You don't want to be making a presentation at a party. You want to set an appointment. That's the job of the first part of the funnel. It might be your webinar. It might be a private consultation, whatever it is, but you're not trying to get it all done in one shot. You're trying to move it to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. Just move them down the pipeline. They're meant to fall out the end of the pipeline and give you money there, not during the middle of the pipeline. So your pipeline might be short, it might be long, it doesn't matter, but you just need to understand what your process is in your business so you can work with it. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses. If you've got a year-long pipeline and people need to kind of know you and they're a year from making a purchase when you talk to them, you got to know that. You need to start filling that pipeline and not stop. You need 365 days before this is going to pay off. It's an investment. You want your investment to keep paying off though. So every day of that 365 that you don't keep the pipeline full, that's going to be a day of slack at the other end. It's just math. It's not going to change. If you slack up on your leads in the front end of your process, you're going to slack up on the sales on the back end. This is undeniable. It's math. I can't change it. I don't like it. I wish it was different. I haven't figured out how to change it yet. Ron, you're a scientist. Figure that one out. Make me a formula. So, all right, guys. Anything else before we wrap up here?
John, I sent you an email asking about those 47 factors on page stuff in the. Have you come across that yet, or did you lose my email? Or
nope, your email actually moved its way to the top of my box because I was pretty much out all last week. So
thanks, appreciate it.
It is at the very tip top. So that's one of the things I'm going to do later this afternoon is look for that.
John, I just sent you an email too. I got bumped out of your membership, so it must be a card problem. So I'm just thinking if you could just look at my email, I give you data.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. I'll take a peek.
All right. And I also sent you another one about I finally got a URL, so I need to know how to assign it.
I already did that for you.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Well, then done.
Yep,
It's off my list now. Thank you.
I assumed you wanted it to just forward to your existing website, right?
Correct. Everything does.
Yeah. If you type it in the browser, you'll see it's going there.
Oh, sweet. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All done.
You make it look so easy, John. You make it look so easy.
All right, guys. Well, have a great week. We'll be back next week. I'm going to traffic and conversion first part of the week. So we'll have a good update on that for next Thursday. So
well, thanks, John.
All right. We will talk to you guys later.
Thank
Bye,
you.
John.
Thanks, John.
Goodbye, everybody, and happy hunting.